Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google" or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. Be sure and visit the updated Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can also access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join the Corvette Today Facebook group there and sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at corvettetoday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, you can subscribe to the Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube. And be sure and patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. And Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolar Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 different unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvettes. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolari.com, that's AEROLARRI.com, and use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. And a shout out to Corvette Forum and CanadianCorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. My guest on Corvette Today is the new Director of Marketing for the National Corvette Museum. He brings with him over 2 decades of in-house and agency marketing experience and a lot of enthusiasm, too. His name is Ryan Eichler. Ryan, welcome to Corvette Today.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. Thrilled to be here, and I'll make sure and bring that enthusiasm to match that introduction.
That's fantastic, buddy. First of all, Ryan, tell us about your childhood and your upbringing. Where'd you grow up? Do you have siblings? Did you grow up in a car family?
So, yeah, I grew up really around Corvettes, and that's where my Corvette story begins. Originally from Racine, Wisconsin, so just north of Chicago. But instead of going to baseball games as a child, I went to car shows with my dad. His first Corvette was in 1980. He purchased that in 1984. So my first memory of a Corvette was really looking at that big glove box that you saw in the passenger seat of those early 80s C3s. Always grew up around cars, going to car shows. I have a sister who also was kind of drafted into this car culture. I think she's probably had 4 times as many cars as any of us.
Wow.
But yeah, come really from a car family and have grown up around really anything with an engine, anything with gas and oil has always interested me.
That's awesome. So your passion growing up was cars, not sports necessarily, or theater or something like that then, was it?
Absolutely. I hear stories of when I was 2 gravitating to Hot Wheels even at that age.
Nice.
And playing with cars then. Was fortunate enough to work at some car dealerships in my formative high school years as a lot jockey, lot porter. If you have a love for cars and then you really start spending more time around cars, it really translates into what I think was kind of the beginning of a lifelong passion.
Fantastic. So where did you go to college? What did you study? And what was your degree in?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go to University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh. So kind of one of the satellite schools, not the home of the Badgers that so many people know in Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
Right.
Oshkosh, also a big home for Oshkosh Truck. Appreciate all that they do for our defense industry, as well as Oshkosh Bagash. And then, of course, cars intersect with airplanes many times. So, of course, Oshkosh being the home of the Experimental Aircraft Association and their massive fly-in every year. So some of those things are what kind of drew me up to Oshkosh. I had the opportunity to be, I'll say, a big fish in a small pond. Was not a big school. Journalism was my major with a minor in political science. What was really special for me in college was getting into journalism. Had the opportunity to meet a gentleman who became a mentor of mine named Charles Pluteman. And Charles was a freelance writer for Harley-Davidson Enthusiast magazine, for Esquire, had written for Men's Journal. And he had a passion for a very interesting hobby, and that was vintage snowmobiles.
Wow.
Now, you can imagine Wisconsin, the connection to snowmobiles pretty strong. I had been on some sleds, but it wasn't anything that I really grew up with. And what he needed was somebody to help him put together a quarterly magazine that the Vintage Snowmobile Club of America put out. And he actually purchased the organization, and with that, the list of everybody that received this magazine. And he went to University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, just lived off campus, sauntered into the journalism department one day and said, "Hey, I need somebody that knows a little something about engines to help me lay out and write this magazine." And that was really kind of the beginning of me being able to take what I was interested in terms of gas and oil, engines, anything I'll say in that kind of world, and turn into something that became, I'll call it a career at that point. So worked with him for 2.5 years, putting out this Vintage Snowmobile magazine. I learned so much about the Rups and the early Polarises. Went to some snowmobile shows in northern Minnesota. Really, really interesting. Met some amazing collectors of vintage snowmobiles that, of course, they would show you their vintage snowmobile collection, and then they'd open up the door to the real garage, and that is where the collection of cars were. But that was fortunate for me because he had this connection with Harley-Davidson and made an introduction to the folks at Harley-Davidson Corporate Communications, which allowed me to kind of make the jump into taking what was a little bit more of kind of a part-time operation in college into a full-time career for me with my first job at Harley-Davidson.
So you were really active during school, and you did a lot of volunteer work. You were obviously busy with clubs and organizations too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think when you look at college, you can certainly go for the experience and the fun and the friends, which I certainly enjoyed. This was in the middle of Wisconsin. There's not too much to do in the winter, but I really wanted to maximize my opportunities and set myself up for the future, and always had been a hard worker. So really tried to get my hands in as many things as I could, not only from being involved with this Vintage Snowmobile organization to being involved with the Public Relations Student Society of America and serving on that board at Oshkosh, along with the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, participated in some advertising competitions. And, again, a little bit of feel like I've been groomed a little bit to end up at the Corvette Museum. One of the assignments that I worked on was we were given a project to be in a competition with other universities to write an advertising campaign for, at the time, was the Toyota Yaris. So very small economy car, but again, kind of gave me a taste of, okay, there is a real business and world around supporting things that I loved, cars. So yeah, definitely kept busy and tried to seize every opportunity that I could in school.
So really, the automotive industry was kind of on your radar during college years, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. I also was fortunate enough to pick up another position while I was in school for a direct marketing company that took me around the country. They partnered with car dealerships, and they would do direct mail sales. So they would send out 5,000, 10,000 letters inviting people to come into a car dealership to see if they won a prize. And then when they would come in, I would pre-qualify them. Were you really interested in looking at a car? Did you just want the diamond bracelet that I was here to give you?
Right.
But again, for me, having spent time in a dealership years prior as kind of a lot porter, and my grandfather actually owned a Chrysler Dodge dealership in Racine, where I'm from.
Wow.
Years ago, he had that in the 50s and 60s. So I kind of felt like all these pieces were a little bit in my blood. And then as I started getting out into more of the automotive retail world, that's where I really found I love talking to people, and I love talking to people about cars. Was involved with the Vintage Snowmobile organization, putting that magazine out, managing that, involved with some of those elements at school, whether it be Public Relations Student Society and Ad Club, touching this Toyota launch, and then also this other company that really had me at dealership floors on every Saturday for about 3 years.
Man.
A lot of fun.
For sure. Well, buddy, let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your career after college, and that's coming up next on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome, with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
Are you ready to take your Corvette to the next level? Look no further than Classic Trim Customs. We've manufactured some of the most impressive Corvette parts on the market, from engine bay panels to splitters and side skirts. With over 30 years of experience in hydrographics, we've perfected the technique and use only state-of-the-art materials and equipment to ensure the highest quality and precision. Visit our website at ClassicTrimCustoms.com or give us a call at 305-258-3090 to learn more about our products and services. Whether you want to create a show-stopping ride or just add a touch of personalization, the sky is the limit with Classic Trim Customs. Let us help you create the Corvette of your dreams.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is the new Director of Marketing of the National Corvette Museum, Ryan Eichler. Ryan, in the second segment, let's talk about your work career after college. You got a primo job right out of college with Harley-Davidson, didn't you?
I certainly did, Steve. It was a little bit of a dream to come out of school and have a position available at the Harley-Davidson Motor Company. Was fortunate enough to join their product communications team. And so again, as a car person, I hadn't really been around motorcycles, but I mean, it's easy. You listen to that potato, and it's immediate. You fall in love with that bar and shield that Harley-Davidson has. And was fortunate enough to work on the launch of the VRSCA V-Rod, which was Harley-Davidson's first liquid-cooled motorcycle. And then a fast follow on that was able to support Buell motorcycles. So for any of our two-wheeled fans out there, Eric Buell, famous Harley-Davidson racer, started his own American sport bike company and created Buell. And the XB9R Firebolt was the first liquid-cooled Buell motorcycle. So they were pulling the engine from the V-Rod and putting it in this really kind of naked, high-performance sport bike. So really incredible experiences. It was also amazing to then start to meet this incredible Harley-Davidson community. Much like our Corvette community, Harley-Davidson riders, they will tattoo the logo on their arm. They will bend over backwards for each other. And charity is always part of everything they do, whether it be a ride across the country or a poker run across town. So really pretty incredible to be able to start my career at Harley-Davidson. Also touched their Enthusiast magazine, which at the time was the longest produced motorcycle magazine in the world. This was a little bit of a feature on the Harley lifestyle that had been around since 1903. So it was was a contributor to Enthusiast, and also was able to manage a lot of media relationships on behalf of Harley-Davidson. I tell you what, it is an easy job and a job that puts a smile on your face when you can call an editor and say, hey, I have a brand new fat boy arriving at your house for a week.
Man, that's got to be a primo job for sure.
Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Now, after that, you went to MSL and Kramer Krasselt, and I know that some of our people don't know what those are, but those are two big agencies.
Yeah, correct. From Harley-Davidson, started to kind of transition into the public relations agency world. You know, I loved working on Harley-Davidson, but was looking for a little bit more variety. So was fortunate enough, worked for Manning, Salvage and Lee, MS&L. I mean, that was my first foray into being able to work on truly automotive communications. I had General Motors as a client and managed communications and public relations for them and their Midwest region. So based in Chicago, and really was kind of the frontline team that was making sure that the latest and greatest Corvettes and Cadillacs were getting in the hands of writers from the Chicago Tribune, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, the Detroit Press. So really some pretty amazing experiences there. And then moved on to Kramer Krasselt, which is one of the longest and largest privately held advertising and public relations agencies in the country. Again, was able to keep the throttle down on some of the automotive and motorsports work. At Kramer, was able to work on my first kind of motorsports programs, supported a few entries in the Indianapolis 500, as well as started to branch out into some beverage marketing, so wine, spirits, as well as some quick service restaurants. For anybody out there that likes coffee, Oban Pond, a national chain quick service restaurants, best coffee in the world, in my opinion. So was able to support those brands on behalf of those agencies.
Wow. And you're no stranger to four wheels either. We're going to do some name dropping here, Ryan, because you oversaw Weber Shandwick's motorsports practice. You were involved with NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar. Plus, let's do some other name dropping. Like you said, you worked with General Motors, but you also worked with Anheuser-Busch and Verizon, too.
That's right. The motorsports world is an incredible one, again, for a car guy to be able to go to a NASCAR race and not only be standing next to Dale Earnhardt Jr., but then instruct him on what to do and what you want him to say on behalf of your client. Mountain Dew, for example, was really pretty incredible at Weber Shandwick, managing the motorsports practice. I had a team of about 10 people underneath me, and what we did was bring to life sponsors' visions as they embarked on these pretty significant Tier 1 sponsorships within NASCAR. So this touched Mobil 1. Was fortunate enough to work with Tony Stewart Racing, and we did a reboot of Smokey and the Bandit. We called it Smoke and the Bandit. It really amazing. Filmed at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We had Tony Stewart play the role of the Bandit from the famous movie. Even had to go and find a beautiful 77 Trans Am to use as kind of our showcase vehicle. But then also supported FedEx, which was a client of ours, Denny Hamlin in the number 11, and then spent the bulk of my time supporting the number 18 M&M's Toyota, which was driven by Kyle Busch at the time.
Wow.
And spent 10 seasons with M&M's and Kyle and Joe Gibbs Racing, doing everything from media tours with Kyle to talk about our latest and greatest flavor M&M's, all the way to, you'll see a little bit of a trend here. We were able to do kind of a homage and a reboot of Days of Thunder with Kyle Busch starring as the lead character. And this was all to support M&M's Crispy. So it was M&M's Crispy Days of Thunder. But a lot of fun. Got the rights from the network to be able to actually use some of the original names. We filmed it at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Some of the crew were actually the same people that were with Tom Cruise and the original actors in the movie.
Wow.
So all pretty amazing. And that season was an intense one for us because Kyle unfortunately went on and had an accident at Daytona in the Xfinity Series race and injured himself and was out for several races, and then came back and actually won his first race back at Kentucky Motor Speedway. And they get on the radio and they say, you were riding on that crispy edge, which is a line that we wrote in the video series. So a lot of fun. On the flip side of that, of course, a lot of weekend work, a lot of pressure, the NASCAR and anything in motorsports, you know, you're really sprinting to every weekend, which is interesting and certainly poses its own fair share of challenges. But had some great experiences, met some amazing people, and made some great friends.
That's truly amazing, buddy. And you were also a vice president at the iconic Fleischmann Hilliard, and you worked with the U.S. Army and Novo Nordisk.
You can tell a lot of these clients are tongue twisters, right?
Yeah.
You know, I joined Fleischmann Hilliard to support the U.S. Army recruiting account. Very obviously so important to make sure to maintain the strength of our Army, you know, really the tip of the spear in, I think, freedom around the world. Was amazing experience. Was able to actually go to several several U.S. Army installations, on some production shoots. And of course, in those cases, your clients working on the Army are generals. So you look at who you're answering to from a client perspective, and you look at their careers, and of course, it makes you feel like you really haven't done anything because they've run missile batteries defending Saudi Arabia or running intelligence in Iraq. Really incredible people, and that was also an incredible experience.
Wow, that's amazing. So out of all these different campaigns that you've worked on, which one was the most memorable or the most recognizable?
That's a great question. I would have to say I supported Anheuser-Busch and the Bud Light brand for several years. Mm-hmm. And for a while, Bud Light, their advertising campaign was up for whatever. They were really trying to appeal to a younger beer drinker. You know, as you look at that category right now, people have a lot more choices, whether that be don't drink at all, whether that be spirits, whether that be wine, whether that be a beer, whether that be a craft beer. So as they were really trying to own the market with younger beer drinkers, they had this idea of, okay, it's up for whatever. It's kind of the sense of you only live once.
Yeah.
And through that, we did some town takeovers where we actually made 2 cities Bud Light towns. And I mean, these were the most intricate, incredible events I've ever been a part of. The first one was in Crested Butte, Colorado. That became Whatever USA for a weekend. They would bring in talent like Vanilla Ice, DJs like Diplo for these very private sets. Of course, it was all you can eat. It was free skiing, mountain climbing, all these wild experiences. So the first year was in Crested Butte, and then we did a fast follow. And the second year, Bud Light rented out, to put it simply, the entire Catalina Island, California. That was Whatever USA year 2. And again, completely incredible. In Catalina, we had over 150 members of the media there with us to cover these experiences. You don't sleep much. And of course, you're certainly dealing with a variety of requests and things coming in, but was super impactful for the brand. And they did start to see the needle move somewhat in terms of reaching that younger beer drinker. A polarizing category and a polarizing brand right now with all the things happening in the world, but you know, some amazing experiences.
Very cool. Well, buddy, let's take our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your new job at the National Corvette Museum. We've got Ryan Eichler with us here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
What makes Showcase so convenient is the ability to put this thing up in literally 10 minutes. And then if you want to move it, it's very easy to take down and move it to another location, move it somewhere else in your garage. And within 15 minutes of unboxing it, you've got your car inside and protected. If you want the best in class protection, get a Showcase by Car Capsule, the most awarded protection on the planet.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
And now back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is the new Director of Marketing at the National Corvette Museum, Ryan Eichler. Ryan, in this third and final segment, we're going to talk about your new job there at the National Corvette Museum. You've had over 2 decades of PR and agency marketing experience. So tell me about the story about how you got the opportunity there at the museum and how you got the job.
Well, Steve, like every good Corvette story, it begins early where I really grew up around Corvettes. I applied for the job, actually saw it online, and, I thought in my mind, oh my God, there is probably 10,000 people that are more qualified than I am to be able to go to the National Corvette Museum and lead marketing and communications. And as I started having conversations, of course, you get more and more excited, and you never want to get too excited because you don't know what other candidates are out there. But it really started out with seeing the job posted online and then doing some investigation to see where the opportunity was. And then we have an amazing HR team here that really, operates with such transparency, but also made me feel like I was part of the Corvette Museum family from really the first conversation. So as the conversations progressed and then had a chance to meet our CEO, Sharon Bronner, I was like, not only is the opportunity right in terms of where the museum is now and where it's going, but Sharon is a inspirational leader. She has a very clear vision of where we're going to go with the museum to be able to really carry on our mission of really sharing and protecting that legacy of Corvette, but then also bringing in new fans and bringing in people outside of the Corvette world to see really everything that we have going on here. So once I had a chance to spend some time with Sharon, I think my follow-ups and questions of, hey, if you guys need anything else from me, is there anything I can do? I probably started to overstay my welcome a little bit, but yeah, it was really an amazing process. A lot of times I'm fortunate enough, my girlfriend is in human resources, and we talk a lot about the candidate experience because right now in the world, if you're looking for a job, the candidate experience isn't always great. You get a lot of ghosting from companies. You'll apply online and never hear anything. Right. The candidate experience here at the National Corvette Museum is really amazing, and I encourage all your listeners, visit our careers page on nationalcorvettemuseum.org to see current openings, everything from our collections team to delivery. So we have opportunities for all here at the Corvette Museum right now, but that candidate experience is really second to none.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, as you're looking through it, you see this online, what really attracted you to this position of marketing director?
Well, the first one was the varying amount of responsibilities. My background has been in really consumer public relations, but I've touched everything from paid media campaigns to events. And this really encompasses everything. So I may start my day having a conversation about one of our billboards on I-65 that is working hard for us, and are there ways to push that? And then transition into the latest and greatest social media trends that we can pull into our channels. And then we start planning for what the next exhibits are going to be. It's just the varying nature of the position and the responsibilities that really excited me. And then, of course, it being Corvette and the Corvette Museum, obviously the history here and the reputation the museum had is absolutely incredible. So it was really kind of that mix that made this really a no-brainer as I kind of proceeded through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going to be your focus there at the National Corvette Museum as you go forward? What are new opportunities that you could see the NCM capitalizing on as you move forward?
So many opportunities, right? Number one is making sure that we're keeping, I'll call it museum product fresh. And you see that right now with our latest and greatest exhibits. We just opened an American Love Affair, 70 years of Corvette on Corvette's birthday, June 30th. So we're bringing in all these amazing new exhibits that include these incredible Corvettes. But then how do we make sure that we're telling that story across all of our channels and making it known that this is the only place that you can really learn about Corvette's pop culture connection and all of those pieces. So just making sure that we're utilizing all the tools at our fingertips and then growing our audience. As I came through for a tour on my initial interview, I was really amazed by our new McMichael Family Education Gallery.
Yes.
For folks that have been to the museum previously, we had a kid zone and it was a lot of fun. But that McMichael Family Education Gallery, that is inspiring the next generation of automotive designers, engineers, all the people that could touch the future of transportation. And for me, that's just really, really energizing, because not only is that making a big impact and making a difference on kids that are coming through and showing them what the opportunity is, but that's really growing that next generation of Corvette fans and Corvette lovers, which is so important for us here at the museum, but as well as for Corvette itself. So it's, again, capitalizing on all the things happening in the, I'll call it the media world right now, telling the stories of what we're doing within the museum, and then growing our fan base to really kind of reach that next generation of fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to ask you, moving to Bowling Green, how's that lifestyle change been moving to Western Kentucky?
You know, Bowling Green has been amazing, is an amazing place, and the amount of growth that we have in Bowling Green right now is really second to none. When you look at it from a tourism standpoint, I mean, that is a huge, important piece of the region, of course, driven by the National Corvette Museum. Coming from Chicago, I can say I do not miss the traffic. I don't miss being on top of everybody. It is green. It is beautiful. There's trees. There's open land. It's easy to get outdoors. So it's really been an easy transition for me. Everyone is as friendly and as wonderful as can be. I will say the biggest shock has just been the pace. You know, coming from living in downtown Chicago, you're constantly racing, trying to get here, trying to get there, catch a train, get here on time. So the pace is still really fast, and certainly we have a breakneck pace here at the National Corvette Museum with the plans that we have and the plans that we're putting in place. But from a community standpoint, it's been nice to be able to kind of hit pause and take a breather and have a 7-minute commute to work versus what could be 70 sometimes in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm sure it's a welcome change, isn't it?
Big time, big time.
Buddy, thank you so much for taking time to be on Corvette Today. Welcome to the Corvette family. Welcome to the Corvette Museum, and thanks for being on the show.
Steve, thank you. And I look forward to welcoming and meeting all of your listeners as you guys all come to the museum. A lot of exciting plans as we look to 2024.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, and please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And thanks to our sponsors. Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. Soul Performance Products at soulpp.com, the official exhaust of Corvette Today. True Wealth & Company at retirewithtrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at aerolarri.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at chevyusa.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.